job easier. You know, you don't try and do too much. You stick within the plan, do the little details right, and you stay efficient. And so the guys up front and the skill guys around me have made my job extremely easy.
So, Archer, will the pressure of Patrick Mahomes get to Baker?
It will not. Marcellus Wiley, Baker Mayfield has realized the secret to adulthood. Dare I say Baker Mayfield has realized the secret to manhood and success. What do I mean? I'm about to go deep with you, Sal. What do I mean? Marcellus, the greatest thing I ever did in my life was look...
Meet me! Oh, sorry.
That was third. The greatest thing I ever did in my life, tangibly, was look myself in the mirror and understand who I was.
Yeah, preach.
After 4 years in the league, I said, Acho, bro, you've been hurt 3 out of 4 years. If you include college, 7 out of 8 years. There's an 80+% chance you're going to get hurt. You're not going to the Hall of Fame, Acho. You're not going to be an all-pro, Acho. So what you still playing for? You got vested, you got pension, you got annuity. Get up out the league. You're not that good. And then I looked myself in the mirror on TV and I said, wait a second, Acho. You might have something here. You might want to stick to this. Marcellus, I realized my talents, I realized my failures, and I finally succeeded in my life. Baker Mayfield has realized his ability, and that is why he is succeeding. In college, Baker Mayfield was medium risk, incredibly high reward. He got to the NFL. He thought he was still going to be medium risk or low risk, high reward. He said, uh-oh, wait a second now. I'm medium reward if I'm low risk. That is the man that I am. I'm a low risk dude with a medium reward. That's why Baker Mayfield's only thrown 1 interception in about the last 11 weeks. Because he understands who he is, and he doesn't care about the outside noise. First couple years he did. That was obvious, that was apparent. But now Baker Mayfield has found the secret to success. Looking yourself in the mirror, understanding who you are, what you're good at, what you are not good at, and leaning in on exactly what it is you're good at. Baker Mayfield, competent quarterback, not overly athletic, not overly strong with his arm, but he's accurate. He can protect the football. He can galvanize his team. That's who he is. He understands that. I don't think that pressure changes him.
Oh, man. You could have done both, played longer and still got here. But, you know, you wouldn't be here right now, so I understand what you're saying. But Baker Mayfield, this is an interesting one because I don't think that the word that I would use is pressure. But I think he will be aware of a foe that so far has gotten the best of him. Let's talk about the 2 times they faced each other. Baker Mayfield in college actually beat Patrick Mahomes, but didn't outperform Patrick Mahomes. You remember that shootout of a game? What the hell were they doing? Imagine if you Baker Mayfield. You throw for 545 yards and 7 touchdowns. Oh, but what the other dude over there doing? 734 passing yards? So Baker Mayfield's like, well, we got the W, so, you know, you could go to the frat party, and Patrick Mahomes can't. But Patrick Mahomes is sitting there quietly like, yo, I just threw for 734. Okay, so they see each other in the pros. Now, not only does Patrick Mahomes outperform him, but actually gets the victory. Now, I don't think that that's going to matter so much for this outing right here. But when you look at it, as you were saying about looking in the mirror and realizing who you are, the mirror is a beautiful reflection of what reality is in your eyes, right? You look in the mirror, you got to be real to yourself, right? Sir. But once you leave that mirror, something happens. You realize what surrounds you. And so the definition of who you are now has a contrast, once you leave the mirror, to who you're not. And guess who you're not, Baker Mayfield? Patrick Mahomes. So in college, you think you Baker Mayfield, you win a Heisman, you the man, you the man, and you the man. But you also had to go to the school where Patrick Mahomes was the man, and you could even get on the fit, so you had to leave that same school. The same school, he's the man. In college, you probably had a better career, but at the pro level, this is Patrick Mahomes' NFL. So no matter where Baker Mayfield goes, it just seems like there's somebody out there that is just a little better than him. It's the Justin Gatlin disease of, I'm the second fastest ever. Yeah, but what does that matter when Usain Bolt still walking this planet? We got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. So, Greg, will the pressure of Patrick Mahomes get to Baker Mayfield?
No, the pressure won't get to Baker. It obviously have gotten to Acho because he just gave up on the wars of dress code. I mean, what is that?
Nah, I don't even gotta try, G.
I'm not.
You feel me?
I'm not going to even go there.
Get him, G.
I'm not going to even go there. You look like you behind the cubicle. No knock to those who sit behind the cubicle, but that's what you look like right now.
They don't dress well.
But anyway, Baker Mayfield, he's not going to succumb to the pressure because of what he said. And Acho, I love your point, but Baker has others, and he realizes the impact of those others. And when you think about water and pressure, when it's built up, it's going to find the path of least resistance. Baker Mayfield's path of least resistance is turning around, handing the ball off to Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and letting them boys run through what is not a very good run defense in Kansas City across from him. So that's the path of least resistance. If you keep that guy that you alluded to, Marcellus, that you know in your heart of hearts, he got me. If I go head to head with him, he gonna do a little bit more. I can't do that. So how can I eliminate his opportunities? I keep the ball out of his hand. So if we stay within what we do best, it's not featuring me. It's me being kind of second fiddle, maybe even third fiddle, because you got Kareem Hunt, then you got Nick Chubb, or you got Nick Chubb, then Kareem Hunt, then you go to Baker Mayfield. It's nowhere near Baker Mayfield first.
Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm going to piggyback on what you had to say, G, because look at the last 2 weeks. That's the most pressure Baker Mayfield's faced in the NFL. You got to beat the Steelers to make it into the playoffs, and then you have to beat the Steelers in the playoffs. You play their JV team, as some like to call it, then you play the varsity team. Now, to get into the playoffs, Baker Mayfield, he was Baker Mayfield. 63% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's who he is. Then in the playoffs, he was Baker Mayfield. 62% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, but more importantly, no interceptions. In the games, the 2 biggest pressure games Baker Mayfield has faced in his NFL career, he didn't waver. He didn't change. He didn't flinch. But to Greg's point, and this is a point everybody has to realize, Patrick Mahomes has lost 9 games in his NFL career. He's been beat by 9 teams. In those games, the opposing team has averaged 166 yards on the ground. The way to beat Patrick Mahomes, hold on to the ball and run the football. The Cleveland Browns, they average 140 or so rushing yards per game. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb average 173 scrimmage yards. So if the road to success to beating the Chiefs is running the ball, Baker knows that. Stefanski knows that. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt know that. Baker doesn't have to be Superman. He surely doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. It's actually best that Baker Mayfield just be Baker Mayfield.
Oh, and that's the problem with Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield is looking at Patrick Mahomes like he's better than me at being me. The quarterback position, that's what's a sad reality. When you give all you got, and that dude better than you at everything you do. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes in this moment. These are the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes, 4-1. Y'all remember the 1? He actually won that game too. But D4 with his offsides, but they had to lose the game. But he hasn't lost basically in the playoffs is what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about points per game in the playoffs. Starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl era. I wonder who's number 1. Patrick Mahomes. Oh, so Baker Mayfield's sitting there like, yo, he gonna put up points, and the brother really ain't lost a game in the playoffs yet. And then you look at the Browns team and Baker Mayfield, who is 5-14 in career games when he has to throw the ball 35 or more times. Now, obviously, the formula for them is to run the ball. But what if you get into a shootout? Probably forced into a shootout, because Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't lose playoff games, who scores the most points in the playoffs, is your opponent. Oh, that's a problem for this team right here. Baker Mayfield, lowest completion percentage this season of any of the remaining quarterbacks in the playoffs. It's fun. And Baker Mayfield even said it. He gave all the props to Patrick Mahomes. It's fun always trying to keep up with Pat. But the problem is not too many people, if anybody, can really keep up with Pat. Even a close loss to Patrick Mahomes still sends Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns home.
Look, I hear all of that, and I'll be really quick here. When you look at the numbers, they tell you, and even when you don't look at the numbers, you look at this team in the Kansas City Chiefs, you just automatically think they're going to light up the scoreboard. Well, they're only averaging 29 points a game. Why do I say only? Because they've averaged a lot more in previous years. This is not one of those years. They've been kind of up and down. And let's not forget, they've hobbled into the postseason. I say hobbled, even though this team has only lost 1 time. But the way that they have entered into the postseason is not just lit on fire. And you look at what just transpired last week. Baker Mayfield, the greatest pressure he could have ever been under was last week. Just winning a postseason game, going up against his arch nemesis, his big brother, their big brother, if you will, in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They beat them down. They punched them in the mouth and never got hit back. So when you look at that, they're relaxed. they're playing with house money. They don't care what happens, even though everyone who's going to face the Cleveland Browns is still going to be under the notion of this is still Cleveland. But everyone within that locker room, they don't know the old Cleveland because none of them were there for over 5, 6, 7 years. So when we look at this Cleveland Browns team, they're looking like, man, they only scored 29. We scored 26. We got some type of ground we can make up. Let's just go and do what we do and let the cards fall where they're made.
I think you talk about, G, the perception of Cleveland. We got to start to disregard the perception of the Cleveland Browns and get to the reality of who they actually are. Baker Mayfield, when his opponents scored 30 or more in the regular season and postseason this year, he's 5-3. Best win-loss percentage when opponents score 30 or more. He actually shines as bright as 20 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. His completion percentage goes up. His passer rating goes up. So when the opponents start to put on fireworks and Baker Mayfield's back against the wall, like Marcellus knows, whether Baker Mayfield puts his back against the wall or finds out that his back somehow happens to be against the wall, that's when Baker Mayfield's greatest form of who he is comes out. So I actually don't see pressure bursting a pipe. If any